It is Thursday here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. I can't believe it's already towards the end of September. Luckily, it's been in the 90 degrees this week, so it feels like summer still. But we are here for the weekly wrap-up with all of you. As you guys, so many of you have known, my little puppy had surgery for her torn, or actually fully ruptured ACL. So she's in the office with me, Miss Diffley, with the cone of shame. But she's doing well after post-op, and as anybody that's had pets knows, it's going to be a long, quiet recovery, and trying to keep an Australian Shepherd mix quiet is a challenge, but we will do that. Wanted to kind of give everybody an update. So many of you had heard that we had our VIP event over the weekend, and it was just fabulous. I mean, fabulous. Our weather held out. The caretakers and staff and interns worked so hard to make the on-site event for our VIP attendees very special for the residents. We got to have dinner, and there was the bus ride, and so I just felt that we had such a wonderful connection and time to connect and talk with so many of the supporters that came on site. And so for those of you that haven't attended a VIP event, definitely stay tuned, because we do put up tickets for auction on our online auctions, because we know people want opportunities to see the sanctuary and still maintaining being closed to the public for the cat's needs. That's kind of how we do that. We balance that. And so just really some wonderful comments from supporters, and we just want to echo that back. It was such a privilege to host everybody that came. We had almost 70 people here, and we are super excited. So the VIP event, not only is it a way for people to see their donations at work and see their animals, but it's our way of being able to give a little bit sneak peek behind the scenes. And it's not to leave other people out, it's just that there's a lot of things the Wildcat Sanctuary does that we can't share publicly because of those witness protection cases, because they're legal cases. And in a small group, we can share a little bit more detail while still definitely not compromising a case, but giving you guys a little bit more, behind the scenes of the animals you help rescue and you help call home. And then it was fun to see everybody come on site and be able to actually meet those animals in person, the ones that we have approval to be seen by members. Hi, Wobbles. Wobbles is joining me. And so just really special event. So thank you for everybody that's here, and thank you for everybody that's still a VIP that couldn't attend but shares our posts, donates to us, sponsors cats, volunteers for us. It was just crazy, because our volunteers help put that event together. Gina, our wonderful development person, spearheads the whole thing, but it takes a lot of people to put on an event, as many of you know. Wobbles, it's really hard for me to talk to everybody when I see your cute little face. So kind of to give you some cat updates, besides that Wobbles says hello and is walking around, is that Bonnie, the bobcat who came to us, and most of the sponsor parents already got this update or should have by now, so check your email boxes if you haven't. She came to us with a hematoma on one ear and one good ear, and now she has had another hematoma on the other ear, which we are looking like is sometimes that can be happening from scratches or another cat might bite. We could not find any particular reason under the vet exam, but Dr. Campbell sutured it, drained it, and she's doing good. The biggest thing right now is that she's going to have 2 of those folded ears, and if you remember Bella the bobcat, that was her signature look too, so we think she's channeling her inner Bella. But at least whenever we have little small things like that, I don't get worried, because it's more cosmetic than anything, and she's still perfectly her, and it's something we can fix and solve, and she's still a healthy and happy cat. We have some other updates, and as always, we try to update sponsors first, but we also don't want to update a sponsor unless something is permanent. So a lot of times I will share some things that are in the works or plans here on the weekly wrap up, and it's not to not have the sponsors know first, it's that it's in progress. So this is the fastest way to share it to sponsors and non-sponsors, and then sponsors will get photos and things when there are final merge or moves, but we don't always know they're final, and cats need time to adjust. So Lila the Lynx and moved today, and she is moved temporarily because, as you know, with her background, we talked about her coming in and she was confined to a small space that was at the sanctuary. Based on social media posts, we've seen her in pay to play and cub petting opportunities, but she definitely doesn't trust everybody, and she has taken more time to be confident in a larger space. And we don't know if that is because she was in a smaller space, or we don't know if she was always in a smaller space. We don't know, but we have learned over the years for so many rescues that cats typically that are confined or living in a small space, especially with not a lot of visual stimulation or not being able to see distances, like Caesar and Logan, the tigers that came to us, that putting them in a big space right away is really causes a lot of anxiety. So we've listened to her needs and definitely have made these moves little by little. And it's kind of like you learned with Mango, the lion cub I've talked about. She has started out in a nursery. She's moved to a medium yard with a roof because as a cub, she still climbs. She'll go out to a bigger yard before she goes to a big cat lion yard. And so each of that individualized care is different. So the Lynx Lila today is moving to, I would say, maybe not her permanent habitat, but a larger habitat. And based on the information we have on her, we made sure there's a lot of lush trees. She has an indoor building, so we're definitely giving her time, giving her some time to get used to her building first, so she knows a safe zone. So many of you that know our setup at the sanctuary, if you're new to us, we have indoor temperature controlled buildings, and each cat has their own bedroom, sometimes 1 to 3 bedrooms. And then once they leave their bedrooms out to, there's a holding yard that we called, which is a smaller fenced in area. And then those holding yards have access to the big free roaming yards. And so when we move a cat or rescue a cat, we first start them in the room and holding yard, or just the room, based on their behavior and the history and information we have. And that's usually, that can be anywhere from 24 hours to 6 days. It really depends on the cat. We want them to get comfortable in their indoor space, since that's where their shelter is, that's where it's temperature controlled, that's where their food gets, gets a lot of food. They also get fed in their large yards. But once they get used to it, they graduate to the bigger space, and then it's not so overwhelming to them. And so that's what we're hoping with Lila. We hope Lila the Lynx, her sponsors, will get an update that she's doing great in her yard. And once we do get great access and she's settling in and we can get photos, those sponsors will be updated. So with that, we also have some moves and mergers going on, and we were going to do them this week, but we needed more time to customize habitats for the cats that are moving. And that is, we want to move Kim and Carl, as we talked about, the lions from Canada, to a larger space. They are young lions. They are our biggest lions, probably next to Alana and Aurora, and they are active. And so we are going to be moving them to Wild Woodlands, where Leo is, and moving Leo, the older male lion, to where they are. And then we have some finishing work to do, where we're going to put a divider wall down and finish it, and so that hopefully Lilager Alyssa, who's been recovering from her degenerative spinal issue, can move next to Leo. So we don't think Alyssa will ever go back in with another cat based on her spinal degeneration, but if she can be in a flatter surface without tall perches, they could still be neighbors and get a lot of good quality companionship that way. So those are our plans. Things always change based on the cat's needs or what the cats tell us. And once those happen and they are permanent, or we know they're going to stick, we are going to capture photos and videos for the sponsors of the cats in their new areas. So Lila moved to Cattail Creek, which also meant Bobcat Shrek is one that we've never known if he can be with other cats. We were told that he did kill a sibling, but that was at about 2 or 3 months old, and he's an older adult. And so we are, and this was before he came to us, so we are going to see if he can pair with another bobcat, and we do that by kind of doing the same process. The bobcats whose yard it is usually will go in one section of the yard, and that'll be the building and the holding yard, and then the new visitor will go into the yard, and then we'll swap them and let them kind of smell each other's places, and then try a play date. Now, if at any time during the shared wall we have mesh on it, there's negative interactions, we never proceed with a play date. So there's a lot of systems in place, but really just trying to give you a little bit of behind the scenes. A lot of thought, time goes into it. And then, you know, some cats, the first day they move, they love it and adjustment. Other cats need a little bit more time. People have asked us at the VIP event, do we move cats like every 6 months? There's not a schedule. It is really about assessing the cat's needs, what companionship they have, what specialties they need, like Alyssa needing more flat surfaces and not areas with stairs or perches she can climb. So that is evaluated. I mean, we have weekly animal care statuses, every 2 weeks. And so we sometimes intervene before those statuses and make those decisions, but it is an ongoing assessment and never stay status quo. And then there might be a cat or two that stays in their habitat from the time they arrive to the time they pass away because they're doing great. They don't like moves, they don't like change, and so there's no two cats the same. Also, you know, as we look at moving cats, it's interesting because Jeremy, Simon, the white tigers, and Tarek and Polina moved to Feline Meadows over the last year. And they it's interesting to see when cats are adolescents till they hit adulthood, and then they decide that I don't need to be so active, I don't need to be so destructive. Jeremy and Simon have kind of been that way. Jeremy and Simon, Tarek and Polina moved to 2 of our largest habitats on the property that are for tigers. And the interesting thing is, both of them have decided that the new indoor building in Feline Meadows is their favorite place to be. And that's because each of them have 4 rooms apiece. So they have a lot of more indoor space, and their temperatures have been pretty warm. And so poor Tarek didn't even come out for the VIP event. His favorite spot is, and can catch him all the time, is when you walk in the building, he is belly up in one of his rooms because it's about 20 degrees cooler in those buildings. And Jeremy and Simon have really picked a routine. They like to be out in the morning, then they spend a lot of the day in the cooler building right now, and then spend the evening outside. So when they move, they also change their routines, and sometimes it's because of the environment, but sometimes they moved because they're becoming more senior, like Jeremy and Simon. So they're just not going to be as active as when they were 1 to 4 years old. So very, very, just always, we were talking about too is, you know the housewives of Beverly Hills or Orange County. It would be wonderful to do like a housewives of the Wildcat Sanctuary and just be able to talk about each unique personality and how we're adjusting, and then how they feel about each other. 2 cats that we think will love each other. You get them on a shared wall and they just decide that it's brother, sister, and they're gonna, kind of tell each other off. So it's always interesting, always learning. Stay tuned next week. We have some news coming up on a few of the residents here. And so as soon as I get some information, and we're trying to put some video assets together, we'll be sharing some news on some of the new residents. Also, we will be inviting you to be part of a fundraiser next week. So we are heading into winter, and as you all know, this Wildcat Sanctuary is located in Sandstone, Minnesota. We have over 150 residents here. We have over 200 acres, and we spend a lot of time and money, getting those cats in the sanctuary ready for winter. And part of that is actually putting on a little weight, what we call sanctuary weight, for the winter. And so to do that, obviously, to feed 150 big cats every day, and especially in the cold of the winter, is one of our biggest expense, but one of our easiest ways to help our residents. So next week we're going to be starting a fundraiser to help us fill the freezer before winter, so stay tuned for that. Trying to think of any kind of other updates right now and kind of looking through any of the comments. Again, if people ever want a sponsor update, please email your sponsor contact, and that's either advocacy@wildcatsanctuary.org is probably the best one. Advocacy@wildcatsanctuary.org if you want an update on one of your sponsor cats. We've been, really just kind of finishing off what's happening here for the summer. And then what we'll do is start prepping for the winter months again, which means taking down shade cloths, putting up, extension cords for winter water bowls. All of our cats get heated water bowls. People often ask us, how do you keep the wild ones warm? And as we've talked about, we are one of the only sanctuaries and facilities I know of that every big cat, small cat, every animal at the sanctuary has a temperature controlled indoor bedroom. And those are in-floor heats, plus we have ancillary heat at the top, so cats can always escape the cold. We also have insulated den boxes with heat lamps outside for those cats that want to use both spaces. And then also we have the temperature controlled and heated water buckets all throughout the sanctuary so that they have outdoor water as well as the indoor water in their bedrooms. So it's been winter, it's like in summer and spring, it's almost like running 4 different facilities, we always say, because we have to redo everything different going into the winter, and then we redo it in the summer, going into the summer months. We also have tick season comes for about 2 weeks when we go into fall from winter, right before winter, and so we'll be doing frontline, so you'll see that on our wish list. Thank you for everybody who bought off our Chewy and Amazon wish list. The cat litter and food came in. We were running low. We're always asking for cat litter and cat food because those small hybrids go through a lot of cat litter and cat food. But thanks to everyone. Again, thank you to everybody that attended the VIP event, and I look forward to seeing you next week with some more news on our residents, as well as talking about filling the freezer fundraiser.